Welcome to Saboteurs to Sage Power with Lily Love Tran podcast for high performers, CEO, and real estate investors who are ready to break free from self sabotage and turn mental roadblock into stepping stone for success. So if you're ready to stop self sabotage and level up together with Sage Power, let's dive in. Today, I want to introduce you, Rose, and she will talk about herself.
Thank you very much, Lily. I really appreciate the opportunity to be on your podcast. And I love to share with you and your audience what I do, what I love to do, and also, some of the challenges that could happen in the process of doing so. I have been a CPA since 1981. But before I became a CPA, I worked for a CPA firm. That's how I got my CPA license. And I also worked for like a major U.S. corporation. But since the work was not too challenging, so I decided to start my own practice on the side. No, after a few years, my practice has grown to a point that I have to make a decision whether I want to continue working for someone else or start my own practice. And I decided to start my own practice. So it was quite challenging in the beginning. As with any business, the challenge is to get clients and also how to run the business. Because when you work for someone else, everything is planned. You know what you're supposed to do. But when you are having your own business, then you have to make a lot of decisions. So that's what I did. And so I went full time after like 5 years or so. And then since 1984, I've been running my own practice, experiencing a lot of challenges in between from the beginning to the time I sold. I finally sold the practice in 2018. And so since that point, I decided to go look at something else. Since I sold the practice, I couldn't go back to the practice for like 5 years. So I started looking into the area of coaching. I started with Tony Robbins and learned a lot from him, from his group. And then I took on a few other coaching classes, like PQ is one of them. Right now, I am starting a couple of coaching practices. One is to work with women CPAs who wanted to start their own practice or grow their practice. That's like when I first started, I would really love to have someone to help me with that. Because when you start your own practice, it's really difficult to talk to your family about it or your friends because they don't really know what you went through. Mm-hmm. So if I had a coach at that time, it would be so much easier. Mm-hmm. And that's what I want to do for the new CPAs coming up now. Mm. And then the other area I also want to work on is a relationship. Because nowadays, in a lot of families, there are differences between husband and wife. We've seen that the divorce rate in the world is now over 50%. And that has a huge negative impact, not just on the on the husband and wife, the two people, but definitely on their children. And the children suffer a lot from these kind of family breakup. The other issue is parent and child. Mm-hmm. And a lot of times, because the parents, both of them, are so busy, they don't really have a whole lot of time for the kids. So that's why there could be a situation between the parent and child conflicts. Mm-hmm. And the situation sometimes was so bad that the kids were very depressed, feeling very depressed, that they took the road of a suicide. And that really would create a tragedy that would kind of imprint a permanent scar in the family. So I like to be able to help these families before they get to that end stage.
Wow, that's a really long introduction. Rose is a good example of doesn't matter how old you are, you can start over, you can do what you love and continue with your passion and purpose. I love her. So what motivate you every day in business or life?
Well, I love to learn a lot. So that's why I'm taking so many different types of classes, coaching class. And so that's one thing I love to learn, because by learning, you keep yourself kind of updated with the what's going on. And the other thing is, so far I've been blessed with good health. And so I want to be able to share my time and my resources to help the people around me. And that's why I have a deep passion, and I really want to start a nonprofit organization for low income seniors, single mothers, and the dependent kids, so they can live in an intergenerational environment and be able to support each other. Because right now, a lot of the seniors, they are living alone, either in their own home or in senior facilities, senior homes. And their major challenge is loneliness, because they are very lonely, they get very depressed. And they were also always hoping for people to come and visit. But the young people just are so busy, with work and family and kids and everything. They just don't have time. So then either they come, or they don't come at all. So that create a lot of depression in the senior community. And of course the kids, with the single mother is totally stressed, trying to look for financial resources and also care for the kids. So they actually really don't have time. This September, I will be celebrating my 81st birthday.
Wow. See, look at that. Last time I guessed it was 60, but she's 80-year old and still passionate about learning and helping people.
Yes.
And I just like, man, Rose, you gotta be on my podcast because you're so passionate about what you do. What was your top saboteur and negative pattern that you noticed in yourself, Rose?
Well, I got a lot. I went through the checklist. I think I got every one of them.
What was the first one that you can describe and then tell a really long story about it?
I think the top one is controller. Yes.
Yeah.
And so I am although I'm not really the firstborn, I do have a sister, but my sister passed away before I was born. So by default, I become the first child. And then I do have twin sisters following me, and I have a little brother who comes like 9 years later. So therefore, by default, I am sort of the leader of the pack. And so then I become kind of, very controlling, always trying to get things done my way. And that's the way that I have been operating. And if I were not able to get my way, then I get very stressed. Sometimes I get so stressed that it's almost like to a panic situation. So I think that's definitely the number one saboteur there.
What give us an example in what situation where you at, who you with, like a really detailed when you got hijacked by a controller that you are so stressful and it damaging your career or relationship or well-being.
Well, see, the controller wants people to listen, to follow them. And so if the person that you are with is not following and not listening, then I become very upset. So when you're very upset, you have a few choices. Either you just close down, quit, and walk away. So then there's no more communication. Or the worst part is you start yelling and shouting, and which is even worse. And that's going to also damage the relationship too. And so, when I was a kid, I was probably doing the yelling and the screaming, trying to get what I want. So I think I remember they saying I'm always crying. That might be the demonstration of being a controller when I was little. If I don't get my way, then I cry. And then, when I grow up, because I really want things to done my way and people don't want to do it, and I don't know how to get them come around. And so therefore the choices is either there's a breakup of the relationships, either because I just don't want to talk to them anymore, or they don't want to talk to me anymore, or we got into a fight, like a verbal fight, not really physical, but mostly verbal fight. And that's not good. And I remember at home when I was with my mother, the same thing. She is also very strong, and I'm also very strong. So therefore, we end up having a lot of, this parent-child challenges among us. But then when we grow up, then we start understanding each other, and then we know we cannot force our way through. Then we try to learn different ways of handling it. I think one way, actually, I found that two ways are actually really good. One is gratitude. So, because when we are in a saboteur situation, we always see the negative in the other person. They don't listen to me. They are wrong. They're not doing good. See? And so, when you are in that situation, you cannot accept the other person. But then when you go to gratitude, then you will be looking for, instead of the fault, you'll be looking for the good, that they have helped you, that they have provided you this, and then you are grateful for all the gifts that you have received. And actually, if we look around, you always have a lot of gifts, but it's because of the filter that we have. A lot of times we only see the bad and don't see the good. But if we force ourselves to be grateful, to have this gratitude, then we can start seeing the good around you, the good in the other person. When you see the good in them, then gradually that will grow, and that would help the relationship. Because the other person also feels the gratitude. They will also change, because there's a mirroring effect. You always mirror what you see in the other person. So if the other person is very grateful, then you will become maybe a little bit more grateful too. So that, I think, is very important, gratitude. Just remember that, count your blessing. They say count your blessing every day. Big or small, doesn't matter, but start counting. And the more you count, the more you find.
I love it. Yeah, you
Yes,
are
yes.
giving a lot of good tip already. What I recognize is that the controller has destroyed some of your relationship and
Mm-hmm.
your health, because you get anxiety and want to be in control, and you cry when you were a kid, and then now
Yes,
you don't get what you want, then you get like really anxious and have
yes,
a lot of anxiety, right? So
right.
when do you notice that, and when do you want it to change? How do you change, and what sage power do you use to change it?
I think I started changing when I started taking all these different coaching classes. The relationship class that I took was really good, showing me how to relate to other people. And those things I didn't know before. I actually wasn't aware. But then once you start learning, that's why I say I like learning, because I pick up a lot of things. So once you start learning, you say, oh, I see, that's how it works. And then life becomes easier, because you are not fighting against the storm. You are actually enjoying the flow. The other one is empathy. When you start having empathy with the other person, they actually softens down. They don't have to defend themselves anymore. So there is the wall that is broken down. So therefore, when you become more empathic with them, you understand them a lot more. And also, you talk less. You will be listening more. And you will be asking questions instead of telling. When you ask questions, you learn. When you tell, you don't, because you're too busy talking. So when you're too busy talking, you don't learn anything. So I think with that, listen and ask, and people will be very, very willing to share.
I love that tip. Yeah. So she used the sage power empathy
Uh-huh.
to weaken that controller pattern. And
Mm-hmm.
how is life improving for you when you address that controlling pattern?
You become more at ease. You feel more peace, because a controller is always fighting. And then when you are fighting, you cannot be at peace. So I find that, peace is actually really important. it affects health. When the person is stressed, the whole body tightens up, including the blood vessels inside the body. When that happens, the blood doesn't flow and the oxygen doesn't get to the cells, and the cells die and you become old.
Is that how you stay so young? Because you practice more peaceful and
Mhm.
using all the sage power.
Yeah, I think that when you are more at peace, you don't have to fight anymore, right? And then you don't worry as much because when you are trying to control, you always worry. I mean, what's the other person going to do? I mean, how am I going to defend myself? When you don't do that, there's no more fighting.
That's true. When you let it go and have
Mhm.
peace with
Yes.
them and with yourself, let it go.
Hmm.
Yeah, I love it.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Yes. And then people reflect on you. They call that there's the mirroring effect. So whatever you give out, you receive.
Yeah,
Hmm.
that's the energy transfer, the
Yeah.
mirror neuron. Yeah, the
Yeah.
neuron that mirror other people. That's why it's so important to be surrounded with people that's positive or people that can teach you more about peace, right?
Yeah. Yeah. That's right. That's right. Hmm.
So that is like a really good advice. So do you have any other last advice for our listener?
Well, the other one is that if anyone has faith, like they believe in God, doesn't matter which religion, as long as they have faith, they actually have a lot less worry and fear. Because if you have a faith, you know that there's someone else in control. You are not in control. And so if you're not in control and you know someone else is in control and the person who is in control is really taking good care of you. We always believe that God is good, right?
Mhm.
No matter which God, whatever you call him, he is good. So if he's good, he's taking good care of you, then why do we have to worry? There's nothing to worry or fear.
Yeah, I like that. Yeah. The
Yes,
universe or God or whoever you believe in
right. Mm-hmm.
has a better plan than you plan, right?
Oh, definitely.
And
Yes,
when you plan, you control so much and then you get stressed out
right.
when life doesn't go your way.
Yes, yes.
So I love that tip. Have more faith.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
So for the last line of the
Yeah.
podcast is you continue the sentence, I am unstoppable when.
I am unstoppable when I give up control.
I love it. I love that. Yeah, I love it. Yes,
Uh-huh.
definitely. So if you're a controller and resonate with Rose, contact her. So that's it today for our podcast. If you got value, share it. You're a hyperachiever and a controller, you know what to do now. And now you can have less self-sabotage and level up it, right?
Yeah, there you go.
Bye.
Bye. Thank
Bye.
you. Thank you. Mm-hmm.
Rose, that
Yeah.
was amazing.
Thanks for tuning in to Saboteur to Sage Power with Lily Love Trend podcast. Subscribe and share it with your fellow high achiever, CEO, or real estate investor who's ready to turn self saboteur into sage power. Remember to catch the saboteur, charge up your sage, and let your sage be your superpower. Ciao for now.